Hello everyone, this is Paul Zarowski here at the James Camp Public Library. As part of National Library Card Sign-Up Month, which you should be signing up for a library card if you haven't already, we got some goodies for you to help celebrate. We're also doing another round of staff recommendation videos. And I'm going first, and I'm talking about a trilogy of books that I discovered recently that I've really enjoyed. It is the Overthrow series from Kenneth Opel, and this is the first book, which is Bloom. The plot of it is, the young adults, of course, all the main characters are teenagers. They're living their lives. They're going to high school. They have friends. However, all three of them suffer from major allergies, which I've never related more to a protagonist in a YA book in my life. I have seasonal allergies. I felt all their suffering in that first part of this book. One day, there's this mysterious rain event where it just completely goes all over the planet. It just travels completely over. It rains all over. And shortly afterwards, these weird plants start to show up. First off, there's this black grass, which it's not edible. You try burning it, it just gives off this toxic smoke that makes you sick. And also, it grows super fast. You try getting rid of it, the next day it's just right back. Then these vines start to show up that basically will release like knockout gas, and they strangle you while you're unconscious. There are these pit plants, which if you walk across them, the ground collapses, you fall, and you basically get Venus flytrap. You get caught up into it, and it just dissolves you. And another thing is, because of these plants, Earth's atmosphere starts to change, and normal people start to have major allergy reactions to what's going on. However, the three main characters, with their allergies, they're actually thriving. They're actually able to breathe for the first time in their lives. They're also discovering that they have apparently like better than normal human capabilities. Like one girl discovers she can like run and jump really, really high and really fast. And so they start working with the military to try to figure out what's going on. Why are they immune while everybody else is suffering? And that's just the first part of it. The second one has a lot to do with bugs. There's another rain event, and of course a bunch of giant bugs start showing up and start wreaking havoc. That one's pretty gnarly. There's like water striders that just grab you and just carry you off, stuff like that. And then the third book, because these things aren't just happening, you meet the ones behind it as well, what their plans are. It is a fantastic sci-fi series. I strongly recommend it. It was a lot of fun, has some horror elements to it, so just be wary of that. But again, that is Bloom from Kenneth Opel, the Overthrow trilogy. See you guys next time.
Hi, I'm Samantha Birds with the James Kennedy Library, and the book that I'm reading right now is The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. This book I decided to start reading because it was on the display for Kim's favorite books before her retirement, and I'm about a third of the way in, and I'm really liking it so far. I don't have the physical copy, so that's why I have this here. But so basically, so far what I've read is that we were introduced to the main character, Mary, and she is not a very likable character at the beginning. She's very spoiled, she's kind of a brat, and she gets taken to this new property because her parents died, but she didn't really love her parents, so it doesn't really matter. But anyways, she gets taken to this new place, and in this place, it's a fancy mansion with a bunch of fancy, huge garden, kind of like a maze of a garden. And in there, there's a secret garden that's locked off, and basically the book takes off from there, the mystery of that secret garden. And I'm really enjoying it so far. I like how I can see the character grow. You know, the main character, she's becoming less of a brat with every chapter, and yeah, I really like the mystery too. So that's why I'd recommend that anybody would read it if they're interested in that sort of thing. That's all. Bye.
Hi, this is Audrey from the James Kennedy Public Library, and I wanted to go through my pick of the month, and that would be Gentlemen Bootleggers by Bryce Bauer, which is a book about Templeton Rye. I love this book. It goes through all of the Prohibition era and the history of it, and also it's very thematic with Templeton, Iowa, which some of my relatives are from Templeton. Actually, I have a mention of a couple of my relatives in the book. So I really enjoyed it. It is not a fiction, so it's more of a historical factor. So I really, really encourage you to read this book if you like history and Iowa history, and enjoy it. I also picked up another brand new one by Karen Blumenthal. It's called Bootleg, and I am looking forward to reading this as well. It deals again in the 1920s, and it goes through the Prohibition era and about Al Capone and his rise to fame. And you know, Al Capone is tied to Iowa in so many ways, shapes, and forms. So I'm looking forward to enjoying this book and hope you do too. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Deb Binkoff from the James Kennedy Library, and I'm here today to talk to you about a series of books that I've been reading. It's by Lauren Elliott, and it's a book about Addie Grayburn. She moved back to her roots to open a bookstore that her great aunt had given to her in her will. It's a series of 9 books. I've been working on the book number 6 right now, and it's in large print, so it's an easy to read book, and everybody knows I like cozy mysteries. And it's just about murders and cozy mysteries and trying to find people that murdered them, and it's a really good book, so thank you.
Hi, I'm Jo from the library, and I want to tell you about the funnest book I have read in a long time. It's called Things I Wish I Told My Mother, and it is written by Susan Patterson and Susan DiLiano. Now, I have to tell you that James Patterson, the great, big, important author, he was involved in this because it says that their co-author, James Patterson, fetched coffee, tea, and sandwiches while the two Susans wrote. Well, I'm just going to let you look at this book, and it's about a mother and daughter on vacation in Paris where they unpack a lifetime of secrets. Now, the summer reading program, people that were involved in that got to write things about the book they read, and one lady let me take her little read this comments, and this is what she said about the things I wish I told my mother. This is the most wonderful story of the life well lived, and it was hard to stop reading. It's a must read on your life as it shares life of a daughter and trying to live up to her mother's ideas of love and hope. You will always try to remember how this ends. And I think what else is so fun with it, as I was reading more reviews about it, is that this is a touching story from the point of view of a successful businesswoman who has spent her lifetime trying to please her overbearing doctor mother, but always feeling like she's come up short. When her mother faces a personal medical crisis and is reluctant to take the rest from work that her own physician recommends, the daughter suggests they take a traveling vacation together. This is a touching story of their vacation when they attempt to bridge the lifelong communication gap between them. Maybe this is something you can relate to. It is sweet, funny, and extremely touching. And this lady said, I plan to give a gift of this book to my daughter and to my sister. That's pretty cool. And one other quick one. Love this book, and I highly recommended it. Very well written. It was hard to put it down because I couldn't wait to see what happens next. And when I read it, I felt the same way because it kept going on, and I wanted more after they finished. It was just a fun read. You don't have to try and recall how many people in that block that lived there and did this work and yada yada. It's a fun book to read, but it has a lot of depth to it. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Good afternoon. I'm Miriam Ike, a volunteer here at the James Kennedy Public Library, and I'd like to share with you some of my favorite items to read. Well, I like to read in the magazine area. First of all, the stories are short and you can learn a lot in a very short period of time. So the Iowa history just intrigues me to learn more and more about my state. And I read this one the other day, Behind Barbed Wire, Iowa's POW camp in Algona. And that was very interesting because we used to live up in that area, and I have been to Algona. Also, strange as it may seem, I like to read about the Big River. Now, I'm not much for boating or swimming, but I really enjoy this magazine because it shows and tells little stories of all along the Mississippi, and I've been to several of those places. Julia's Journal is another intriguing magazine because it shows the calendar of events in the Dubuque and surrounding areas. And this is a good way to plan your events for the weekend. Oh my goodness, I couldn't believe my eyes when I looked at the Iowan. Look at what we have here. Heather Gudenkauf. And Heather has written several books, and she has ties to this area. I think maybe some of her relatives live here. So that really caught my eye for some weekend reading. And I opened it up, and what better picture here than a glass of beer from our local textile brewing company. Now, if you have never been there, that is a real intriguing place that we have here in Dyersville. It was an old pajama factory, and this is a real unique place to visit. And I'm told that they have very good beer there. I wouldn't know. When I grow up and get dry behind the ears, then I'm going to try some of that. Oh, but last but not least, my favorite of all is Our Iowa. And I have subscribed to this since the first issue. And the pictures in here are simply fantastic. And the stories are awesome. It's very colorful, it's informative, it's exciting, it's positive, and you can also look through here and find the little eyes and see if you could win a big prize. And believe it or not, if you send a little email about an article in here and they print it, you get an Amish pie. And that happened to me one time, and believe you me, that pie was mouth-watering. So be sure to come in and check out all of our magazines that we have in our front room, I call it. I have to say that Paul does a fantastic job at selecting magazines for all ages in our library. I'm really impressed.
Hi, this is Dawn at the James Kennedy Public Library, and this is a book that I am recommending that you read. It is called Anatomy of a Song by Mark Myers. This is actually book 1 of 2. These are nonfiction books chronicling the history of some of the most popular music ever, and what inspired the song, how easily it was or wasn't written. This first book covers the years from 1952 to 1991. He has chosen 45 songs that he feels illustrate a milestone in music, and songs covered in here are things like My Girl by the Temptations, Suspicious Minds by Elvis Presley, Heart of Glass by Blondie, and Losing My Religion by REM. And for each of these songs, they're each about 1 chapter long. He talks to the person that wrote the song, some of the musicians as well who maybe helped play on it or also helped write the music, as well as the singer who helped sing the song. And if you are a music buff, it's fascinating. I am not a creative person, and to hear how some of these songs come forth, how some are labored over for years and others literally jump out of their head fully formed in 5 minutes. It's just, they're very interesting. Many of these songs covered in this book have gone on to be inducted into Hall of Fame. The singers are in the Hall of Fame for all genres. So if you're interested in music, I would suggest that you pick it up. And if you like this one, there's a second one out as well that covers another 55 songs, starting from 1991 coming forward. So check it out today.